from Southern Maryland's weather leader. This is a JB Weather Alert.
Hello and good evening. I'm Forecaster John Bordash with you just before 8 o'clock, continuing to track that threat of strong to severe thunderstorms really as we head throughout the rest of the evening through about midnight or 1 a.m. We do now have storms beginning to kind of blossom across our region. We have some storms kind of outrunning our main area of concern that's back out to the west, still across parts of Virginia. We do see that we have locally heavy downpours that have now fired up across parts of southern Maryland and now beginning to enter through parts of Calvert County. And we saw that these downpours fired up, and here's a half-hour-long radar loop. You can see that we've seen these storms move over parts of Charles County, move over parts of St. Mary's County, as these storms have continued to move to the east. So now we've seen storms really kind of move throughout much of Calvert County, seeing a nice little downpour move from about just south of Leonardtown, kind of following Route 4 there into parts of California, parts of Solomons and Lusby there. And then another heavier downpour move from Hughesville, Mechanicsville, Charlotte Hall, through Golden Beach, Benedict, and then right here into Prince Frederick along 231 and Howling Point. And then we saw additional rain move through northern parts of Calvert County. Our main area of concern, though, continues to be this area back to the west as it continues to push here towards the east. And this is producing plenty of lightning. We are estimating up over 17,000 strikes of lightning right now. Several severe thunderstorm warnings displayed here, shown by the orange boxes as everything continues to push to the east. And now we're seeing some of these storms begin to approach the Potomac River. And we've seen some pretty heavy rain move here into parts of Pittsburgh, Indian Head, and that's going to be moving here into La Plata pretty soon. Putting that loop back on, you can see the general trajectory of these storms. They look to have taken much more of a southeasterly direction than a pure easterly direction. If we loop this here over the last hour and a half, you can see how these storms have generally moved, and we'll let this kind of come together here. And I might need to turn the national radar loop on to get that long of a radar loop. What you can see, though, is that these storms initially moved almost due east here towards Culpeper, but now they're kind of diving a little bit more to the south. So thankfully, the most electric part of these storms, the strongest part of these storms, will probably miss us to the west, probably focusing much more on the Fredericksburg area, Spotsylvania, Orange counties. But the northern side of this line will definitely skirt up along the Potomac River. So for those of you, La Plata, Nanjemoy, Newburgh, they're right along the 301 bridge down towards Cobb Island, Chapteco Avenue, Leonardtown, Colton's Point down towards Piney Point, Callaway, Tall Timber, St. Indigo's down towards Ridge. Those are going to be areas we're going to continue to watch as these storms continue here to move to the south and east. And outside of that, we also have those storms moving across parts of Calvert County as well. Coming back on over here, we do still have this severe thunderstorm watch. It's been trimmed back a little bit from what's on this graphic, but it's still in effect for southern Maryland until 10 o'clock. What I'm actually much more concerned about would be this flood watch we have in effect until midnight tonight. Not everyone will see heavy rain, and not everyone will see flooding. It'll probably be a little bit more isolated than anything. But those areas shaded in green, that includes the D.C. metro area, really points south of 66 in Virginia, south of 50 here in Maryland. The potential is there for areas to see flooding rains. We've seen several bouts of heavy rain move through our northern communities, Anne Arundel, PG counties earlier. We're seeing that now kind of spread further south through parts of Charles, St. Mary's, and Calvert counties. And if you get several of these downpours continuing to move over the same regions that are dropping upwards of an inch or maybe even 2 inches of rain an hour, you're probably going to see some flooding issues, especially in regions that saw some of the heaviest rain this weekend. Areas in western Charles County and in west central parts of St. Mary's County, Leonardtown, Chapteco, on up towards Port Tobacco and Indian Head. Those are the regions that saw upwards of 2 to 4 or 5, and in some cases 6 inches of rain Saturday morning in a very short amount of time. So your ground is still very moist, and additional rain could cause some flooding issues. So will everyone in the green area see flooding as we head through the evening? No. But this watch is up to alert you that some people in this region could be looking at flooding. And I do think we're transitioning now from that damaging wind threat which is still very much out there. If you have these storms pushing overhead, you could be looking at some tree damage, some isolated power outages as well. And actually, we have several. I want to say I want to take a look at this actually. I know we have thousands without power in parts of PG County where they've seen some of the worst storms move through. I'm tempted to say that it's closer to hundreds of thousands without power in parts of PG County, but that might just be me being dramatic, and I'm not totally sure. So not hundreds of thousands, but in the Pepco market, let me take you on over here. I'm not used to working the Pepco map, much more used to the Smeco map. But through Montgomery, parts of PG counties, they have over 68,000 customers without power due to these storms that have moved through. And we're going to continue to see that be an issue. We have additional outages in the BGE coverage area, northern parts of Calvert County, parts of Anne Arundel County as well. Here's how Futurecast handles this, and this run here was rendered earlier this evening. But you can see that it moves those storms through, and it potentially looks at a couple of rounds of storms possible between now and about midnight. So we're really looking over the next 4 hours or so for potential storms to continue to move across the region as we have moisture streaming in from the west, pushing through. And we were pretty warm, pretty humid today, so we have plenty of storm energy out there this evening for these storms to tap into, which has allowed some of these storms to become strong. This storm actually out here in Delaware, moving through the Milford area. One of these, and actually, okay, we'll take the severe thunderstorm watch. Okay, the severe thunderstorm watch has actually been trimmed back a bit. It's going to take a minute for this radar to update. If I come over here, though, I can show you. So the severe thunderstorm watch, let me turn some of these layers off for you. The severe thunderstorm watch has been canceled for PG, Anne Arundel County, Fairfax, parts of DC. But it is still in effect until 10 o'clock for these areas here shaded in pink. So that's going to be Calvert, Charles, St. Mary's, King George, Spotsylvania, Stafford, Fredericksburg, Prince William, Fauquier, Culpeper, and Orange counties. Okay, they're just still trimming that back a little bit. But these storms that are out here towards parts of Delaware, they were actually really severe, prompting considerable threat tags to be attached to those severe thunderstorm warnings, potential winds upwards of 80 miles an hour with those storms. As we saw storms work through PG and Anne Arundel County, they had winds over 70 miles per hour, and and actually, I could probably loop this far enough back to show you. Let's take this over the last 6 hours. That should be far enough to get me back. So what prompted the core of a lot of damage really was two storms. You have this one out here west of Hagerstown and this other one out here in western Maryland. If we track both of those, you see this huge lightning producer move through Hagerstown right around 3, 4 o'clock. And then you see this storm out here in West Virginia approaching Winchester. This northernmost storm caused significant damage across northern Maryland as it tracked toward Middletown, Delaware. Lots of damage in Baltimore, Carroll counties, Hartford, and Cecil counties, on over towards New Jersey as well. And then you have this little guy out here. And if you track that, right, moves through Winchester, and then it turns into more of a line. But when it was back here moving across I-81, it had winds over 90 miles per hour, and it's continued eastward, and it moved through the Annapolis region, bringing those 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and then pushing here into the Delaware area. And you see it prompted yet again that destructive threat tag, winds potentially over 80 miles per hour. And when this storm was back here in western Maryland, or in Western Virginia, I need to figure out when that was issued. So that was 80 there. Yeah, the National Weather Service attached to the potential for winds upwards of 90 miles per hour. So, yeah, so that's kind of what we've been tracking, and then those are moving their way on out, and now we have these storms down here to the south. So we're going to continue to track these. Nothing right now in our region is severe. All of that's to the west of the Potomac River. With that said, though, we do still have areas of heavy rain kind of lining up along Calvert County, out here towards Indian Head, and then heavy rain pushing across Lexington Park. So we'll continue to track this. I'm hoping that maybe this last little bit here out here towards Culpeper and Fredericksburg continues south and east, and that's going to be the last bit of our severe weather potential, but we'll see. Futurecast has been very persistent on developing potentially another round of storms back behind it. So this little guy out here, so like this little guy out here towards Harrisonburg, that is at the start of maybe a third area. We'll have to see. But in the very least, we have this guy here pushing through south and east through parts of our region. And I need to change this to access the storm timeline. There we go. Take you on over here. There we go. So if we track all of this here moving to the south and east, oh, that's a little too fast. That's a little too far south. We'll try this one more time. So here, right through the Fredericksburg area back to the west at about 30. This would be a general look at storm timing. Again, this is very rough and could be off a little bit, and the track could change. But that's just a general look at storm timing here for you. Jason wants to know if you're going to see anything in Lexington Park. And actually, radar is suggesting that you're seeing something right now. So I guess that's probably more like California than Lexington Park. But we'll see if this little guy can't just track a little further to the south here. We'll do a half-hour radar loop. And you can see how these storms are just kind of firing up over California, then moving off to the north and east, and firing again, moving to the north and east. So you have a nice conveyor belt of heavy rain here, extending from around Leonardtown through California, Solomon, southern parts of Leslie, to the Chesapeake Ranches. It's more rain to the south here. But then you see all this rain back out here to the west that still has to move through. So stay with her where I'll be here in the Storm Center for a few more hours, continuing to track everything. The severe thunderstorm watch for Calvert, Charles, St. Mary's, and King George counties does continue until 10 o'clock, with that flood watch for most everyone continuing until midnight. So stay safe. I'll continue to be here if you have, and actually, we have a new severe thunderstorm warning as I try to get out of here. So let me get that updated, and I'll be here to give you that latest update. This is a new severe thunderstorm warning for Charles County here. This goes until 8:45, so it's going to be this orange polygon here. We're moving to southeast at about 40 miles an hour, so I need to get all of our socials updated with this, so bear with me. We'll stay here live with you, though. So if we're moving this at about 40 miles an hour to the southeast, that would look something like that. Let's move you here. We'll move you here. Let's zoom in a little bit, because we have to capture all the people in St. Mary's County that will want to know if this will hit them. Which is not to bash, but I just know that question is coming. So bear with me for the 78 of you still watching. I have noticed that the last week or so, my content hasn't been reaching as many people as it typically does. Our lives haven't been as lively. And I am much more prone to think that that is a Facebook shadow ban on me than anything else. Because that is very unusual. So when you see updates, give me a like so I know that they are actually still making it to real people. But the latest from the National Weather Service here is that we have the severe thunderstorm warning for Charles County until 8:45. At 8:06, a severe thunderstorm was located near Quantico, and this was moving southeast at about 40 miles per hour. The main hazards here will be 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail, along with heavy rain and lightning. We will save that, and I need to update Twitter because these aren't auto-sending today over there, which is annoying. Hey, Sandy, I like to think that they can't stop you all from seeing my updates, but they are sure trying. jbweather.net/radar. We will tweet that, and let me get it on over to the live blog too. And I do definitely like using the live blog lately, because you can't give me a shadow ban there now, can ya? Not so much. And plus, I think many of you that follow me know that I really am not the biggest fan of Facebook. And it isn't for any political reason dealing with Facebook. It is just like, I won't even touch that. Okay, let's see what some of these comments are. Then we will get into all of this. Yeah, Mike, we were actually just talking about that a little bit ago. That storm that is out here moving through parts of Delaware, moved through north. Actually, that's probably a different storm now, but we saw a decent storm move through northern Maryland a little bit ago. Yeah, Sandy, yeah, the Facebook's a little weird right now. But coming in here right now, let's take a look. So we have several things ongoing right now. We have the storm we were just talking about, or the kind of the continuation of a stream of storms moving from St. Mary's County through southern parts of Calvert County. So I see Linda is saying it's pouring in Caree, so the Chesapeake Ranch Estates, lots of lightning as well. And then we have this bad guy here, just south of Waldorf. It's hard to say which storm it is, but it's this entire line continuing to move south and east, and the National Weather Service will continue to issue warnings for parts of this line as it moves south and east. But I have the storm tracking up there for you. Let me put another storm track on it for you. So we'll just do this segment here. We know we're moving this southeast at about 40 miles per hour. So this would be a general look at that timing for you, if you can see that. So moving through La Plata, literally right about now, the worst of that storm is just to your north. I'm moving through Mechanicsville at about 8:30 or so, but it's really going to be in the western parts of Mechanicsville. So if you're closer towards Golden Beach, you'll be on the edge of this. You might still see something. Hughesville's in the warning, so we'll see. Let's see. We have Chapteco 8:30, Colonial Beach 8:34, Cobb Island 8:43, Leonardtown 8:46, Great Mills getting close to 9 o'clock. So that's a general look at your storm timing. Now, that's not when you're going to see the heaviest rain, because some of you down here near Lexington Park are already seeing heavy rain as storms are kind of blowing through your region. The worst of it is really kind of up here. The worst of it, though, is kind of up here. Now I'm crossing the Potomac, getting through parts of Charles County, continuing south and eastward, and showing you that half-hour radar loop shows you kind of how slow these are moving, and these storms are putting down a hefty amount of rain and lots of lightning. I mean, you're getting quite the light show up here. Indian Head, Pittsburgh, Nanjemoy, up along the Potomac River, I'm sure. Then you have a decent light show ongoing down here. California, Town Creek, Drum Point, Solomons, Chesapeake Ranch Estates, Cove Point as well. I don't expect them to issue a severe thunderstorm warning on this little guy, because it's very rare that they issue such small severe thunderstorm warnings. And this storm looks to be just under severe limits. I do want to take a look, though, at some of the winds we are starting to see. And yeah, we have some pretty hefty winds up near 60 miles an hour moving into Nanjemoy, down here towards Fairview Beach and western parts of King George County. And I'm not seeing anything too crazy with the Lexington Park storm that's extending into parts of Lesby. Radars indicating maybe 30 mile an hour winds. It's kind of a peak. And for severe thunderstorms, that criteria starts at 58 miles per hour. So we'll kind of see what's going on with that. We'll see if those storms strengthen at all, but, that's kind of it. Up here towards the Plata, though, I do see a comment asking that. Kind of north of Route 6 is where you have some of the heaviest rain right now, pushing to the east, but you have much more rain back here west of 301 that's all going to push through. So the Plata, you're looking at heavy rain for the next half hour, 40 minutes or so. And all of this is pushing here to the south and east. And that severe thunderstorm watch continues for all of us until 10. Well, at least Calvert, Charles, St. Mary's. But I do want to take a look at that rain potential. Let's go ahead. Yeah, we've already seen a decent amount of rain begin to fall getting up over radars estimating over an inch here through parts of Pittsburgh, Pomfret, Indian Head, potentially up over an inch through northern near Charlotte Hall. That's an area you saw some of that heavy rain over this weekend. And then some of that heavier rain extending into Prince Frederick, then down here from California through Solomon to Low Hollywood, through the Chesapeake Ranch Estates. So we will watch all of this as everything continues to move on through. I'll be here in the Storm Center for the next few hours, continuing to track everything. I really do think once we get this kind of leading or this line out of here, we should be fine. But until then, stay safe and stay aware. We probably won't start to calm things down until we head towards about 10 or 11 o'clock. So I will continue to keep you updated. In the meantime, though, I'm Forecaster John Bordash. Thank you for watching me here. You can always get my updates, regardless of shadow bands or not, at jbweather.net. Live vlogs up. You can access live radar and Futurecast as well. In the meantime, Forecaster John Bordash. Have a nice and safe one, and keep it tuned right here to JB Weather for the latest information.
Check the forecast anytime online at jbweather.net.